Hello, this one is going to be covering an exchange I had with a YouTuber by the name of Brit Girl. Her real name is Rachel. I won't give away her surname. She's got a couple of surnames as far as I can tell via different Facebook accounts. But it's going to cover a few issues that you generally find as someone like me with my kind of run-of-the-mill, normal, liberal leaning views that have joined this movement that is pushing for more freedoms and is fighting against Islam. But overall, it's just pushing and trying to promote and mainstream even more the values of the Enlightenment, the values and principles of liberalism, and in short, British values, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, stuff like this. So we have some strange bedfellows within this movement. You get a wide variety of people, and recently, within, I'd say, probably the past year, definitely the past 6 months, I've noticed that some of the people in this space have some questionable views, some views that are, I would describe as alt-right views. Now, the alt-right is a bit of an umbrella term, but the general consensus is that white societies would be better off if purged of all the non-whites and made pure, if you will. And their goal, their aim, is to establish a white ethno-state. So in short, that's what the alt-right is going for. That's what they represent. I know there's more civic nationalist type of alt-righters, but they're not really representative, and I wouldn't say that's what the main base or makeup of the alt-right is. So we've got alt-righters, or at least those that sympathise and are aligned with the alt-right in several ways. I've already covered one such person, which is Simon Harris. I think he's been inching closer towards the alt-right. Now, he still doesn't openly identify as an alt-righter, but he has some agreements and many alignments with them, and they seem to be drawn to him. And if you look now, I'm going to share a donation that he received on a recent stream from an alt-righter. Generally speaking, if you're espousing views that the alt-right doesn't agree or align with, then they're not going to give you money. Me, for example, if I were to have a stream with a super chat function, I wouldn't get alt-righters giving me money and making statements such as this guy has made. So I've been aware of I'm not sure if it's an increase, but I've just noticed people with these leanings and these views. And Brit Girl was someone else I'd come across in this space. I listened to one or two of her videos. They were actually pretty decent, pretty good. And then as I started watching more, I obviously started looking at comment sections and going through comment sections. And again, lots of alt-right types throughout her comments. White genocide, we need to get rid of, remove kebab, all this stuff. A lot of race-based comments. So I started scrutinizing the comments more, and I noticed this comment here, which is shared on the screen, but I'm going to read it as well because I found it quite astounding, to be honest. It was quite a, let's say, strong. It's a strong statement, and it's well, it's quite clear in what it is. So the guy's name is mouthpiece for the Jew world order. A bit of a clue in the name. So he said in a comment on one of Rachel / Brit Girl's videos, they want white genocide because we're traditionally the only inherently good and moral people who oppose evil and Satanism. World War II scared the shit out of the Jews because one unified white nation almost brought down their corrupt global empire. They don't want to risk letting it happen again. As you can see, it's had 14 likes, and Rachel, for some unbeknown reason, has chosen to love the comment. Now, when you love a comment from a commenter on one of your videos, it's like, well, it's an agreement and an endorsement of said comment, and Rachel, for whatever reason, has chosen to agree with and endorse this comment. So it's sorry, I had to laugh when I was reading it just because it's typical alt-right fucking nonsense and Jewish conspiracy shit, and white supremacy is thrown around, but this is a white supremacy statement. He said that whites are traditionally the only inherently good and moral people who oppose evil and Satanism. And Rachel agrees with that statement. Now, I've consequently gone on to ask her for clarification as to why she'd endorse and like such a comment, and also whether she agrees with the comment or whether she disagrees with it and those aren't her actual views. And my, how she has run and obfuscated and played the victim card. Just pure ad hominems in response, pure obfuscation, pure you're harassing me, stop harassing me, victimhood feigned from her. It's actually been quite telling because throughout all of her responses, she hasn't she hasn't actually mentioned the statement. She hasn't said she disagrees with it, and she hasn't said it was a mistake. I didn't mean to love the comment. Now, as a point of reference, let me just show you a comment that I loved on one of my videos, just to see the difference. So everyone can read and see that comment. It's a light-hearted joke comment. There's no racism there. There's no anything there. It's just just a humorous comment. So that's the type of thing that I love and endorse and agree with in my comment sections, compared to what Rachel likes, endorses, and agrees with in her comment sections. So let's have a look at some of her responses. Just for a time frame, that was, I think, in October 17. I noticed that comment on the video and asked her about it, asked her for clarification. So I asked her for clarification in the comment section of that video. Unfortunately, I can't find that video anymore. I'm not sure which video it was, so I can't link to it at all. I know she's had some videos removed and whatnot from YouTube, so I'm not even sure if it's there. But fortunately, I did take screenshots, so the evidence is still there. So I also asked her on Twitter, and she was on Twitter as at Sussex Mum 81. So I asked her on Twitter in October, the date's there, 16th of October, and she's responded, "I still haven't answered, question mark. I don't answer to you or anyone else, exclamation mark." So she's showing her sass there. She's not very pleased at being scrutinized or even critiqued. How dare I ask? She doesn't owe me any answers, which is fair enough. She doesn't have to answer or respond to me. So that's the first example of rather intellectual, honest, direct responses addressing the questions raised and giving her views. Now, both my account and her Twitter accounts have been removed since October last year. So I'm no longer on Twitter, and as far as I'm aware, she's no longer on Twitter. Pressed her a couple of times on it. She responded similar to that, and then I thought nothing of it. On other occasions, I happened to come across her by chance. So when I came across her on Facebook, I asked her about it again. She ignored me this time instead of getting sassy. So I left it at that. And I came across her on Facebook, just for clarification, through the people you may know or people you know in common function. So we share a couple of mutual friends, someone like Tony Bugle. So when I am friends with Tony and Rachel is friends with Tony, if I'm looking on anything to do with Tony on her Facebook feed, like it will come up with suggestions of friends in common or mutual people or friends of friends, and I came across Rachel via that. So I wasn't looking for her. I wasn't stalking her as she claims. It was just happen chance I came across her. So each time I've come across her, I've just poked her again by just asking for her clarification on her views. And each time she's not addressed the question. And as I said before, she doesn't have to, but I'm just, at this point, slightly trolling, but I'm also serious because I want to know people's true views. So I've continued to press her on the matter. So like me, Rachel had issues on Facebook as well. So the initial account that I asked her the question on was terminated. I'm not sure if it was terminated permanently or just suspended, which is what happens to me a hell of a lot. So as I speak now, I'm currently on Facebook using primarily my secondary account, which is under the name of Jim Bob. My primary account is under my real name, LukeReid, but it's currently on a 30-day suspension, so I can't do anything on there. I can't comment, I can't like, I can't share, I can't do anything. So when I receive these Facebook gulag timeouts, I will use my secondary account. So on my secondary account, again, I came across Rachel via the mutual friend function on there, again via Tony Bugle. So again, I've come across her, this time under a different surname, because like me, with my secondary account, her under her secondary account, you can't use an identical name for obvious reasons. So she's under a different surname, but obviously I can see it's her. So again, I ask her, and this is how she responds. Are you not getting bored of this now? Question mark. It's been 7 months and God knows how many profiles you've set up to harass me over a liked comment. Your attempts to smear me on every group, channel and profile are beyond pathetic. You have mental health problems. Your behaviour is vile, Luke. You're clearly an infiltrator. Seriously, get some help. So again, ad hominem, obfuscation, and she's not addressed the question. Ran a mile from it. Now, when someone responds like that to basic questions or a query for a clarification on a view, it tells me that they endorse said view. Based on all the evidence and what she has and hasn't said, that's the only conclusion I can come to, that she endorses a view, because she hasn't disavowed the view, she hasn't said she disagrees with it, and she hasn't addressed the question that would clarify her actual view. So I just responded, still playing the victim card, question mark. And then I've responded with some saturated sarcasm. And then I've said, indeed, 7 months and you still haven't revealed your actual views. It's rather telling. And that was pretty much the final exchange we had. Now, we did have one at roughly the same time on a video of Paula. I'm not sure if her channel's called Paula Real Talk or Paula Real something. I'll put a link in the description to her channel. She does some decent content. Again, she's in this space, but unlike Rachel and Simon Harris, she doesn't have alt-right views and alignments, as far as I'm aware. So she basically is in line with someone like Tommy Robinson, who doesn't buy into any of that racial identitarian collectivist nonsense and narrative that the alt-right does. She did a video, I think, in response to Brit Girl. I'll link the video, I can't remember off the top of my head what it was titled, but it was in response to Brit Girl. It wasn't like an attack video, it was in agreement or something. So anyway, I watched the video. In my comment, I've said what I think about Rachel regarding her views and what her views, if they aren't under the title or label of the alt-right, they are certainly aligned and in agreement with the alt-right. And then I've quoted in full the comment in question that Rachel is in agreement with and endorses. I've asked Paula if she would endorse such a statement. And then Brit Girl responded. Just pure ad hominem. There's no argument, there's no rebuttal, and again, most importantly, she hasn't answered the question or responded to the content of the comment and why she endorsed it. Again, as far as I'm aware, she still holds those views, she stands by those views. She doesn't distance herself from those views, and she hasn't, since October, she still hasn't distanced or disavowed those views. And this bit is interesting because here she lies, and I'm going to demonstrate that she's a liar and that this sentence in particular is a lie about her not pinning or highlighting the comment. She says, "I like every comment left on my page!" Exclamation mark. Now run along, it must be time for your next breastfeed. Again, just insults and ad hominem. And I never pinned it, you lying litter prick. It must be utter prick. I like every comment left on my page. So it's quite a clear statement. She says she likes every comment on her page. So I like an easy challenge. Bit of an oxymoron, easy challenge. So then I wandered over to her page. I clicked on the most recent video, or just any video at random that I could find, and I took some screenshots. So this one here, you can see 3 comments. She's not highlighted or endorsed or loved a single one. This one, she has loved 2 comments out of the 3 on display here. This one, there's 2 on this particular shot. She has loved 1, and the other she hasn't endorsed at all. And this one, out of 3, she has loved 1. So she doesn't love or endorse every comment. That's a lie, and you can see it's a lie. So let's get to her her fanboys, because they're quite adorable and quite hilarious. All anonymous, of course, because stunning and brave and all of that. So let's get into the accusations I've received from her fanboys, who have proceeded to white knight her. In fact, before we do that, let's go through some of the lovely the lovely comments that you get from some of her fans. So again, I'll link I've got the name now, Plain Talk with Paula. I'll link the video in question, so if anyone wants to see these comments in full context. You and yours can't die soon enough, so the earth might be cleansed. Well, there's a not so subtle hint of ethnic cleansing then. Again, an alt-right type of rhetoric, if you're at all familiar with engaging with the alt-right in comment sections, which I am, because they're so fucking stupid, it's hilarious to troll them. He's fawning to Brit Girl. Don't let that soy boy anti-fast SJW lead you around by the nose. Don't play his game. He doesn't get to demand answers from anyone. That was stunning and brave. An English patriot, look at this guy. Alt-right, so what are you scared? You should be. That's barely literate, I'm not sure what he's talking about. And then Jack. Good old anonymous Jack. LukeReid, why don't you fuck off to Syria, you dirty bastard? So again, as you can see, very highly intelligent, thoughtful, rational and thorough arguments and rebuttals of my claims and positions and statements. Very impressive stuff. So let's get into the accusations made from some of her fanboys. Kito Harvey Will has taken the opportunity to respond to my comment with some anonymous accusations. LukeReid, you're a scumbag. Heard about poisoning Amory Waters against Brit Girl so she couldn't stand for election in the party for Britain, and bringing up the charity Brit Girl donates to, claiming her a racist so the charity no longer takes her donations. You're a snake and a vindictive little shit. Take that chip on your shoulder and go after real racists instead of people doing real good. Apparently I poisoned AMW is Amory Waters, by the way, against Brit Girl. Now what actually happened was, around the time I made my Simon Harris response video, the alt-right one, I was speaking about me noticing more and more these type of views amongst people in and around our movement, and with regards to Anne-Marie in and around the For Britain party. Just to add, I've met Anne-Marie. I met her on the way back from Manchester in the UK against Hate March last year, a bit after the Manchester bombing. So I met her, and we had exchanged a few emails before I met her in person anyway. Obviously, since then, we've kept in touch. We exchanged messages. We exchanged texts. We communicated on Twitter back when I was on Twitter. I know Anne-Marie. I do some work with her. That's going to be on Sharia Watch. She asked me to do a report on women's rights in Islam, which I did for her, and that should be up in the coming weeks on Sharia Watch. So, in short, we're in quite frequent communication about all sorts of different things, really. General stuff, more specific stuff in regards to the party, and just general chit-chat as well. In an email exchange with Anne-Marie, it kind of came up about these views becoming more noticeable, and certain individuals who have or align with certain views as highlighted. So Brit Girl came up. I said, these views have been endorsed by Brit Girl. Just wondering what your thoughts are. I'm noticing it more and more within our circles. Then I shared the screenshots with her on Twitter. So I texted her in December, a bit before Christmas. In it, we covered what I said about certain people and certain views being more noticeable. She said, yeah, just send me the screenshots on Twitter via DM. I did that then on Twitter, and she saw it, and that was it. I didn't make any suggestions or demands. I didn't say anything. I just said, this person endorses and agrees with such views. Here's the views. Just thought you might want to know. I left it at that. Now, I don't know what has happened with Anne-Marie and Rachel. I don't know if Anne-Marie has said anything to Rachel or not. But based on the criticisms, apparently something may have happened. Brit Girl, as far as I'm aware, it said on her Facebook, it said she was a member of For Britain. She also said that Anne-Marie had asked her to stand for election. She may have, no, I don't know. I was also asked to stand. A lot of the people Anne-Marie was communicating with, as the party was being set up, she kind of floated the idea to them about standing for election. Now, I will not be standing for election because I like trolling and shitposting and just having a laugh with my ideological opponents too much online. Some of the stuff I say is harsh and not very politician-like, and it could have negative consequences or negative repercussions on the For Britain party. So due to that and other time constraints, like I have a full-time job, which is shifts, so I can't necessarily commit the time to it that it would merit and deserve. So due to these reasons, I won't be standing, but I was offered. I do know from what Anne-Marie has said to me that she has met Rachel, and I'm so tempted to share what she said, but I'll keep it private. But anyway, it was quite interesting, let's say. Anne-Marie's reflections were quite interesting, quite illuminating. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, I made no push to get anyone removed or silenced or anything like that. I just said, I'm noticing more of X views. Here are X views. Such and such people seem to hold X views. That was it. That's what I'd done. I've had this accusation from this guy, And then he's gone on to mention ringing up the charity Brit Girl donates to. Now, this is the first I have heard about this. Just to clarify and for the record, I don't know what he's talking about. I have contacted no one in relation to Brit Girl outside of Anne-Marie Waters. I don't know the charity he's on about. I certainly don't have a number for said charity that I know nothing about and have never heard of. I've not looked into any charities that Brit Girl is aligned with or donates to. It's all news to me. So this guy's made this baseless accusation, so I've asked him for evidence. He's not provided evidence because he has no evidence. So let's go through the remainder of his accusation. Right, he's called me a pro-censorship snivelling SJW cunt. Again, all ad hominem. There's nothing of substance there. I wouldn't care who the victim was to your online hate campaign with real-world repercussions. Considering you readily admit to sabotaging her party membership, it's clear who the trustworthy principled one in this is. Baseless claims, and I've gone through the reasons. There's been no online hate campaign or sabotage. I noticed a quite repulsive endorsement of a repulsive comment, and then I asked Brit Girl why she'd endorse the comment. That's it. That's the first action. And the second action, I then highlighted this and shared it with Anne-Marie. Now that's not me conducting an online hate campaign, nor is it me sabotaging her party membership. What I am interested to know actually is, perhaps I'll ask Anne-Marie this, is whether Anne-Marie asked her to clarify her views and whether she actually did clarify her views. That's really fascinating. In fact, yes, I think I will ask Anne-Marie about that, because Brit Girl was adamant to me that she didn't have to justify or clarify herself or explain herself to me. I wonder if she applied that standard to Anne-Marie Waters. I suspect not. You've already admitted to getting her task for Britain. False. I haven't admitted to that. Tells me everything. You call her racist on Twitter/Facebook too, under the name Jim Bob, LukeReid in brackets, and she, according to her, had donations stopped towards a charity that was looking after her stepfather dying, the guy's illiterate, can't spell dying, from cancer due to your actions. As I said, I haven't admitted to getting her task from For Britain. I didn't get her task from For Britain. I call her racist on Twitter and Facebook. Nope. I've not called her racist. I haven't called her a racist on this video. I've never called her a racist on Twitter or Facebook. And again, I've asked this guy for evidence of all this, and he can't provide any because he's basically lying and making it up. So you also message that Janessa English, or whatever her name is, with an old post Brit Girl had liked, so then English would attack her. I am in contact with, I think it's Janaya, not Janessa, Janaya English. We are friends on Facebook. We exchange messages from time to time. Same with, as happened with Anne-Marie, really. People and the views within this space, this movement came up, and yes, I referenced Brit Girl, and I showed her what Brit Girl has said. Yeah, she obviously thought the endorsed comment was, well, let's say, foolish, and she's chose to comment on it. That's for her to do or not to do. Now, I've canvassed a few people on these sorts of views, because if the party is going to align with and endorse such views that Rachel seems to think are fine, then I'll leave the party. I'll stop donating financially to them. It's as simple as that. I'm not here to join a party that endorses BNP and alt-right anti-Semitism or general white supremacist nonsense. I'm not here for that, and I'm not going to align with that. Yeah, I put these views out there amongst a few people I know that are aligned with For Britain, just to get their feedback on it, just to gauge reaction really, because what I have noticed in this movement is somewhat of a double standard regarding racism. So when Naz Shah makes her gaffes on Twitter about that fake Owen Jones Twitter comment about shutting up for the good of diversity, and Naz Shah isn't bright enough to realise it's a parody account and likes and endorses and agrees with the comment and retweets it. People are happy to highlight and state that she is endorsing a racist statement, or she has espoused racist views, or she is a racist, or she aligns with racist views. Same for Diane Abbott. When Diane Abbott says anything racist, which she does with increasing frequency because she is a racist and she's an idiot, quite rightly people in this space will be quick and happy to point out the racism. But when you point out racism from right-leaning racists, such as the guy that made the comment that Brit Girl endorses and agrees with, they're a bit slower to say that it's racist. They're a bit slower to disavow it and state that it's not a good comment. And they're a bit slower to say that line of reasoning or that type of rhetoric is racist. Now that's quite telling for me, and it's disappointing and it's a bad sign. The people that I shared the statement with and sort of canvassed their opinion, for my taste, too many of them weren't willing to just simply state that it's a racist and bad statement. It was kind of ignored or dismissed as just a throwaway comment, pay no attention to it. It's not particularly important, it's not representative, it's not anything. Just sort of, there's bigger things to focus on. Let's focus on Islam is generally the line of response that I got. Yeah, it's a concern, and I don't like it, and I'm going to be vigilant of it and keep an eye on it because I'm consistent in my principles. I criticise the far left when they espouse their racism and their racial collectivist identitarianism, and I do it equally to the right-leaning equivalent of far left SJWs when they espouse their racist nonsense and racial identitarian collectivism. I'm consistent on this, and unfortunately it doesn't appear that a few in this movement are as consistent. So let's get on to the last accusation. Oh, fuck off, you knew exactly what you were doing, passing your information. You can find her talking about what you did very easily. I just got done watching her stream where she brought it up again. So I've just replied, still no evidence then, and then I've expanded on that, which you can see if you're so interested by clicking on the link to said video, which I will include, and scrolling through the comments section. So then our favourite alt-writer, Earthling Carl, has today chimed in. I think this is kind of spreading a bit, hence me doing this video. I was going to do this video anyway because I found Brit Girl's views questionable, to say the least. And I also wanted to address this noticeable minority of views similar to that within our space. So I wanted to comment on that anyway. I've just got around to doing it now, really. So is it true you saw one like of a comment by Brit Girl, then had a hissy fit and tried to get Anne Marie Waters to disown her? I responded to that, and I'll just be repeating myself, saying what I did there. No, that isn't true. I never did that, and I've gone through the reasons. So yeah, that is it. A bit of e-drama, but again, it's quite important to know people's true views, their actual views. People can say stuff and whatnot on a video, which is like a polished representation that you're willing to put forward of your views. But when you drill down a bit and kind of scrutinize comments and stuff that you agree with and endorse and highlight, then you get a bit more of a more revealing picture of what the genuine, true views are. Views that aren't necessarily put out there or promoted or espoused openly or publicly. And as far as I'm concerned, I have seen Brit Girl's true views, and her failure and inability to clarify her views or her endorsement for such views. It's rather telling. It's revealing, and it tells me all I needed to know, really.